Okay, so here we go. We have 8 minutes. Okay.
Okay, so on to T. Territories are the United States. Title V U.S. Code. United States means the 50 states, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, Guam, the Virgin Islands, the Trust Territory of the Pacific Islands, and any territory or possession of the United States. United States means the territory over which the sovereign nation of the United States exercises sovereign power. Valentine's 95. On to standards, education or interpretation allows for an in-depth discussion concerning the functioning of our legal systems and society. Reasonability is the best framework for evaluating topicality. It checks a race to the bottom. Limits, the neg over limits or definition precludes core affirmatives. Framers' intent, we are talking about curtailing domestic surveillance. That is the framers' intent. It doesn't say it just has to be the U.S. only. The topic, so look at the topic on the board here. It doesn't say countries. Nowhere in that topic does it say United States only, States of United. It doesn't say that. It literally is just talking about territory. The United States and Mexico are both territories. Mexico in itself is a territory, which means that our app is topical. It doesn't say you have to speak only about the United States. It says nothing about specific countries. As long as we cover a territory and not, just say, like, if we're talking about drone strikes is not a territory. We're talking about an actual physical territory, both the U.S. and Mexico, so we are topical. So I'm going to go on to case.
Okay, now go to your case flow, the very first piece of paper you have.
I know. Should I just go with the other one? Okay. So, surveillance fails to catch drug dealers, Greenberg, 7/17/15. So, law enforcement surveillance in America, and particularly its ever-increasing use of wiretaps, has been primarily driven for the last 25 years by drug cases. Earlier this month, the U.S. court system released its report of every wiretap, which granted law enforcement a warrant. And of those 3,554 wiretaps in 2014, 89% were for narcotics cases. That's the highest percentage of wiretaps focused on drugs in the report's history. It continues a steady increase in the proportion of drug-focusing spying. 25 years ago, just 62% of wiretaps were for drug cases. In fact, the constant swell in drug-focused wiretaps may help to explain the general increase in all American wiretaps. In total, the count of U.S. state and federal wiretaps has jumped from 768 to basically 2,000. So it is more than 4 times that number today, but take out those drug cases and the collection of wiretaps of other kinds increased only 29% in those 25 years. The past year's record number of drug-related wiretaps warrants is just a symbol of how the war on drugs shapes how America spies on its citizens. As the Electronic Frontier Foundation's Hanny Ford toward Wired in April, a list of surveillance cases that set legal precedents shows that practically every new surveillance technique American law enforcement tries out, whether GPS tracking of vehicles, aerial surveillance with drones, or searching a cell phone taken from a suspect at the time of arrest, has first come to light in a drug case. Even the NSA's surveillance with drones or searching a cell phone revealed in 2013 was first implemented for a decade by the DEA. As USA Today reported in April, the war on drugs and surveillance state are joined at the hip. So, to explain that connection between surveillance and drugs, surveillance is expensive. A wiretap costs an average of $39,485 in 2014, according to the latest report. So, and unlike other incentives focus on drugs, unlike other types of crimes, those seizures mean that drug cases can pay for themselves. When agencies bust a drug dealer and get $5 million and a kilo of coke, they keep the money. In many ways, the drug cases subsidize the surveillance technology and used by law enforcement. Nearly 9 out of 10 wiretaps now targeting drug suspects. The drug war's appetite for spying won't be waning, but there are some glimmers of hope that the government may be ready to reconsider its war on drugs. I have a few more case cards. Huh? Okay. Border surveillance has increased in the scope, and without major changes, it will be increasing for decades to come. BOSC 15. In July, DPS launched another search called Operation Strong Safety. I'm sorry, alright. Okay, I'm extending the Box 15 car operation is slated to continue in August 15 at a cost of more than $2 million a week. I know. So the card is just explaining that until we stop border surveillance, it's just going to continue. We're just going to continue to spend millions of dollars on it. And then increase trade benefits all levels of Mexican society, increases quality of life, and takes away power from the repressive government belonging to 2K. So it's time to conclude that the NAFTA is a success. NAFTA has helped Mexico economically. The urban employment rate was 6% in 1992 and rose to 8.5% in 1995. It is now less than 4%. The Mexican boom has been led by manufacturing, construction, transportation, and communication sectors. The Mexican boom has been led by exports. So this is explaining that if we continue to curtail surveillance, less trade will occur, meaning that the Mexican economic situation will continue to worsen. So increased quality of life is based on increased trade benefits. So the Mexican citizens are gaining from this trade that occurs along the border. When we surveil and we continue to slow down this process, it makes the quality of life worse. It increases unemployment for Mexican citizens. So the result has been first peaceful transfer of power in Mexico in more than a lifetime. Top Mexican officials see border securitization as an unwillingness to cooperate. The plan is key to increase relations. Route 13, Mexico's Secretary of Foreign Affairs criticized U.S. bill that would add 700 miles of border fencing and double Border Patrol agents' fences do not unite both nations. His criticism marks an interesting shift in Mexican government's position on immigration debate. Mark the card at debate. So the card is saying that when we continue to want to add fences and surveil more and more, how does the Mexican government look at this? Like, we assume that they're bad, that we need to spy on them, we need to add 700 miles of border. Clearly they see that we don't want good relations with them when we want to continue surveilling their country like it's filled with criminals. When we continue to want to surveil, add more fences, add more guns, add more drones, the Mexican government sees this as, if they're our friend and our ally and someone we want good relations with, why are they looking at this entire country like it's filled with criminals? So the key to the relations between that country is not continued surveillance. I'm just going to go on to the election DA like in the last 49 seconds. So the election DA, if Trump can't win the presidency, there's no impact to this DA. He's a businessman, like the neg said, not a great politician. When we're talking about the Latino vote, Trump is not going to have the vote there. He's already expressed his racism and xenophobia toward Mexican citizens and their children, immigrants from that country. No one is going to vote for him, Latino vote. He's not going to win that there. On to the politics DA. There's no impact, just links. Even if the neg wins that we link to this DA, there's no impact. Nothing is going to happen, so it doesn't even matter. He's not saying that extinction will occur if it links. He's saying that there's no impact at all. And also his cards are about Obama's popularity. He's going to be out of office within the next year, so it doesn't matter anyway. We need to focus on who's going to be elected next, which most likely could or could not be Trump, but it doesn't matter about Obama's popularity. He'll be out of office soon.
All right, that's time. Nicely done.